Raise your hand if someone has helped you get to where you're at today. There's only 2 liars in here. Great job. Now, we're going to do something a little bit weird, but some weird things have happened the last couple of days, so I don't feel that bad about this. I want you to think of that person, okay? So a lot of us, we might have a whole bunch of names that have come to mind. I want you to think of one person that helped you get to where you're at today. And on the count of 3, we're going to say this out loud. We're going to say thank you to that person, okay? You can whisper it, you can say it out loud, but we're all going to do it together, okay? Okay, get the name in your head. I'm going to count to 3. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be great. We're going to fill this room with a little bit of gratitude, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, great job. Garth. Garth is the reason why I'm standing here. 26 years ago, I was, if I did the math correctly, I don't do public math. I was a young punk kid. I grew up, actually further than 26 years ago. I grew up in Oxford, Michigan, a small town. My parents got divorced when I was 11 or 12 years old. We lived with my dad, who worked for Chrysler. He worked midnights, and frankly, I kind of raised myself. And when it came time to graduate high school and move to college, I was kind of on my own. My parents they didn't graduate from college, and I had to figure out a lot of things by myself. We didn't have a lot of money, so I had to come up with most of the dollars to pay for university. I failed my first semester of university. I got a 1.2 GPA. Has anybody gotten worse than that? I have, because my second semester of school, my second semester of school, I enrolled at the community college because I could not afford another university semester, and I got a 0.8 GPA. Needless to say, I was a young man trying to figure life out. I had some amazing people in my life who were loving me, accepting me for who I was, and just showing up and asking me questions and trying to support me and trying to guide me. And through a series of events, I found myself a part of this young group of high school and college-age kids, and we were studying the Bible and trying to learn about this person named Jesus. I grew up with this cold heart toward pretty much, my entire family, and was all about myself, was very self-consumed in Ryan Koral. I still sort of am, but I've grown a lot. But as an 18, 19-year-old kid, I had an opportunity to go to Peru, and I got to see people live very different lives than I lived here. And I started to become really grateful, and I started journaling, and I started thinking through, who do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be? And when I came back from Peru, I was spending a lot of time with this group of young people that were asking these same questions. And one of the young men that was in this group, his dad was a college basketball coach and a professor at a small Christian university in our local area. And his dad had found out about this group, and he's like, man, you're really excited about this group, and who's leading this group? And he's like, oh, this kid Ryan Koral, and we went to high school together, and he's like, I need to meet this young man. So I meet this guy, Garth. Now, if you ever meet Garth, he is 6 foot something. He's a large man, but his personality, his voice, everything, it just booms. And this guy is one of the most fun, irreverent, just loving, amazing human beings. And I had this conversation with him. He's asking me all these questions about my life and growing up and the things I'm excited about. And eventually he says, I need you to meet my boss. And my boss is the president of this college. And I'm like, okay. So I meet the president of is called Rochester Christian University. I've never met a president before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I come into this big, intimidating room with this big oak table, whatever. I sit down, and President Ken Johnson starts asking me questions about my life, and I'm just sharing my story. This is the only thing I have. This is the only thing I know. he says, hey, I really want you to think about coming to school here. And all I'm thinking is, I know how much it costs to go to school here. I'm enrolled to start again at this community college, and I've already paid for it. It starts next week. And he's like, I want you to come this weekend. We're having this orientation for freshmen. I just want you to meet some of the people that are going to be here. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, this guy is just after me. So I'm like, okay, I'll come. So I drive 20 minutes on that Saturday morning. I go into the lobby of this dorm, and there's a whole bunch of people. I get a lanyard. I'm filling out papers and stuff. And there's people, and it's just this cool energy in this room. And then they hand me a little envelope, this little manila envelope. And I grab this envelope. I open the envelope, and I pull out, and it's a key. And I'm like, what is this for? They're like, that's your room key. And I'm like, why? I'm just commuting. I live like 20 minutes away. I'm just, the next 2 days of this little thing that you guys are doing, I'm just going to go home, come back tomorrow. And they're like, no, that's your room key. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, I'm just, and they're like, hang on a second. They grab one of the dorm parents. The dorm parent, Debbie Rutledge, comes over, and she says, Ryan, this is your room key. And I'm like, I understand. I'm just commuting. She's like, didn't you hear? I'm like, hear what? She said, this is your room key. You got the president's scholarship. I have no idea what the words are that she's saying. She's like, school, it's free, it's paid for. Room, board, classes, everything. If you want it. And I'm like, if I want it. My jaw hits the floor. I in that moment, everything changed for me. I go to school there for 4 years. I meet my best friends in the entire world. I meet my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife when I met her, but she became my wife eventually. I graduated from the school. I work in the enrollment services department. They want me to hang out there. They want me to stay there. So after I graduate, I work in the enrollment services department for 2 years. I convinced my boss in 2002, this is before YouTube. There were videos on the internet back in 2002, but they were literally this big. Like does anybody remember watching videos when they were yeah. I convinced my boss to buy me a video camera and a computer because I had seen the power of video. I had seen so many videos that told stories that were compelling, that weren't sales pieces, but told stories and invited people into larger stories. And I told my boss, I said, buy me this stuff and I will make that kind of stuff to share the stories, the life transformation that's happened in my life and all of the other students, most all the other students that go to school here. And so he bought me this equipment. And I got to start playing, and I got to start learning. And it was the most fun. And eventually, after almost 2 years of making videos for the school, I just said, this is all I want to do. I don't want to work for the college anymore. I just want to make videos. And so I left the school and started my video production business. And this year, in October, will be 20 years since I left the school to start my business. Insane, thank you. Now, my friend Garth, mentor, the guy who's responsible for me standing here, responsible for me going to school there, loves to take responsibility of me meeting my wife and just, he thinks he's responsible for all the things. He has this incredible legacy. About 3 years ago, the college came to me and said, hey, we have a donor that wants to do a documentary on Garth's life. Would you guys be willing to do this documentary? And for me, in that moment, this is like a full circle thing. The guy who's responsible for me doing this work that I have grown to love and adore and appreciate, this same work that has taken me literally around the globe to tell stories, to meet people, to interview people, to create beautiful legacy pieces for people. So I said no. For those of you listening, that's funny because of course I said yes. So we do this documentary, and it was one of the most fulfilling pieces. I couldn't believe that we got the opportunity to do this piece. So I want to share just a 2-minute trailer of this mini brand story that we did for Garth, but essentially for the university. So I guess I'm the one responsible for rolling. I really wanted to say, can we roll the tape? But that's I'll roll the tape. And it's not tape, I know, it's just what we say. Let's get some volume, maybe lights. I don't know, can we do lights?
Basketball is something that's provided an opportunity to really not only have a whole lot of fun, but shape lives in the process.
As a player, it was always more than basketball. It was about accountability, communication, teamwork.
It was never about wins and losses. It was always about hard work and discipline and faith. That's what Garth has oriented himself toward. It's hard for me to think about Rochester University without thinking about Garth Pleasant.
This has been my dream job. I've been able, through God working through this institution, to be able to work with young people like this. I'm indebted. Thank you.
What's really crazy to think about is Coach Pleasant won all those championships, and he never had a gym.
One of the things Garth has said to me is, I never apologized for what we didn't have.
I mean, he built from scratch an incredible basketball program that I would argue is known throughout the region, and he built it with almost nothing. I think there's a misconception that my dad is a basketball junkie. I don't think my dad's a basketball junkie. I think my dad's a people junkie.
We won a lot of games. We were really good, but it's bigger than basketball for Garth. I mean, there's just so many stories of people that he coached that are better today because of it.
His thing was always, I'll tell you how good this team was in 20 or 30 years, when I can see what kind of fathers and husbands and members of society you are. This was his ministry.
To me, that's the legacy. It's not gonna be, oh, look at that banner, or it's not gonna be, did you see how many wins? And then someone looking at someone saying, listen, I can point to a time and place when my life changed, and the person behind that was this guy named Garth. That's legacy.
Thank you. Thanks. And in just 3 easy secrets, I'm going to teach you how to make the exact same video for your business today. We've got 15 minutes, and I'm going to do it. We can do. We got this. Okay. This is kind of extreme. This ended up being a 40-minute documentary, so there was a lot involved here. But what I am at the essence of what this is, it is a story. This piece for the university has become the most powerful marketing tool that is the least salesy thing. It's better than whatever their recruiters are doing over there, trying to call, land, get book time with parents and students to get on the, hey, it's worth coming here. They share that. Mission, vision, values, heartbeat, changed lives, testimony, like it's all in there. And it does not, you watch that, it's like, this is a movie. This is actually making me tear up, or it's doing something in my heart. That's what you all have the opportunity to be able to have and to create. I believe that a brand video, if there was only one piece of content that you ever created for your business, could be the most powerful piece of content that could help grow your business. Thank you, good night. Oh, wait, 3 secrets. Yeah, okay. Why video? 82% of people have been convinced to buy a video product or service by watching a video. 67% of marketers say that sharing social videos has the biggest ROI of any marketing strategy. 92% of video marketers reported that video gives them a positive ROI. Honestly, I feel like it's like beating a dead drum. I don't know, whatever. We all know that video is so important, but there are so many reasons why we don't do it. Just let's take a couple of seconds, shout out a couple of reasons why you've thought about doing video and you haven't done video yet. Hit time, editing, yep. Don't like it? What'd you say? Yeah, good answers. Great job. But we know it's so important. It can be so important. But I think we get in our heads and we overthink it. Raise your hand if you've ever overthought doing a video before. Yeah. And I'm a video guy. Owen raised his hand too, and his last name is Video. That's crazy. Okay, some of the benefits of using video the right way, not just doing video to do video because you know you're supposed to do video, and that's probably why it hasn't worked out that well because you haven't been intentional, or I haven't been intentional. So here are some benefits of using video the right way. It can build empathy and create connection. Who doesn't want to create connection with their ideal clients? Video will help elevate your brand. It will inspire and invite people into your story and into your journey. It will help win your ideal client. It will actually help repel people that you don't want to work with. Raise your hand if that sounds amazing. Who would like to not hop on a discovery call with somebody that's not a right fit? You watch Garth's story and you can understand what he's about, and you can understand that's not a place I would like to go to school. Like anything but that. Like I just want science or smart things or whatever. And that didn't seem like any. That was like sports and legacy, whatever. I don't know. I don't get that. There are some people that don't care about that, and that's fine. The right kind of video can help you recruit ideal employees, retain employees if they understand your mission, your why. It can help with retention and differentiate you from other businesses. This is a thing where if you raise your hand if you have a competitor in your business. Okay? You're selling the same thing as your competitor, right? Maybe it's probably priced about the same, like you think it's better, but why, whatever. At the end of the day, your story, your why you do this work, it's different. It might be a little bit similar, but your background, where you came from. Jessica's story yesterday, I was so moved and so grateful that she shared what she did. Because what that did for me, it gave me permission to say like, wow, I can get on a stage and I can share with people some of the hardest parts of my life. What she did yesterday is she created a deeper connection with me and probably with a lot of you, because we understood where she came from and to see where she's at now. It is an amazing transformation story. And that's what your story has the opportunity to do. When we are moved emotionally, we are better positioned to take action. There's all kinds of science, neuroscience, that I'm not even going to try to, I was going to try to pull up some smart slides, but then I'm like, I don't want to seem like I'm smarter, but there's a lot of science that says when we can create something that touches people, that elicits emotion, we're winning, and we're one step closer to them justifying why they should hire us. Who needs a brand story? If you have a competitor, you need a brand story. You need your why to be out there. If you are recruiting, if you have employees, you want your employees to understand, what do you care about? What are your values? You should hire and fire based on your core values, and they shouldn't be a surprise to your employees. If you told your story, you're going to draw, the same way that you're going to draw your ideal clients, you're going to draw your ideal employees. I always tell my potential hires, if you ever apply for a job and I interview you, one of the things that I say, and I don't mean it to be awkward, but I just tell people, I say, hey, these are our core values. We're hungry, humble, heart. I stole some of those from Patrick Lencioni, amazing author, but these are our core values. And for me, they're based off of this person, Jesus, who I've tried to model my life out. This guy is all about love. That's what I'm trying to be about. He's all about just like getting after it and just, doing the hard work. Humble, hungry, heart. And I tell all my employees, potential employees, I'm like, you don't have to believe the same things I do, but just know that these are the things that I care about. These are the things that I talk about. This is work life, this is home life. So if you don't align with these values, like, you're not going to enjoy working here. And we have videos that share that same story, because I want people, before I spend all of this time sharing all of the things, I want them to get a sense of who we are before we have this conversation. How to tell your brand story. Okay, I've got 3 things. We use this thing, the T.E.L.L framework. This is how we tell stories. This is how we think strategically about the way that we tell our brand stories, but also just any video. When we think about what we're going to create, this is the lens that we try to use. This trust building framework, I know you guys can read, but just humor me. This framework is designed to help you capture attention, tug at heartstrings, educate and move people closer to working with you, buying from you, or joining your mission. The T in the T.E.L.L framework is transition. Here's the secret. People are not waking up in the morning thinking, I've got to hire Ryan. I need a video, I got to hire him. We've all got so many things that are vying for our attention. And your business, your brand is not on the top of their list. And so we need to transition people's perspectives. And that's why we've heard the word hook. We need to hook them somehow. We need to somehow show them in some way that what I'm about to tell you is worth listening to. And it's hard. It is a competitive, if you're scrolling to get somebody's attention, if they've never heard you or seen you, it's really, really challenging. And that's why time needs to be spent being strategic. Who are these people? What's going to get their attention? I got to try a bunch of things. You've got to experiment. The E in the framework is emotion. When we're emotionally moved, we are moved to take action. And this is the important moment to show how you care about what your audience cares about. Whether that's through sharing a specific story, a problem that you faced and overcame, or you help someone else overcome. Even if you're sharing an FAQ video or something that's just, it's all, the 3 parts of a brand story. If you're not infusing part of your story, part of your heartbeat, part of why you care about this thing, why is somebody else going to care about what you have to say? You have to believe it. So as you're creating, as you're thinking about your own story, think why do I care? What is the emotion behind this work that I get to do? The L is leverage. This is all about data. This is when you earn someone's trust, when you share vulnerability, when you really share your heart and you're not afraid okay, people aren't going to like this because I get a little, I'm surprised I haven't cried on this stage yet. But when you can get to that point where it's wow, I can't believe that person shared that. That seems like that's a big deal, and seems just like an inner circle should be a part of that. But the fact that they invited me into this story, that means something. And so once you build that trust, then it's okay, now that I've got you here, let me tell you, my video studio, we've won awards. I've been doing this work for 20 years. We've worked with iconic brands. I've been in Hall of Famers' living rooms, telling their story. But if I start with all that stuff, you're I don't care. Maybe you might think some of that stuff is neat. But if I start with hey, here's where my life was. It hasn't been easy getting here. This, running a business, it's golly. There's so many challenges. Golly. How many times am I going to use that word? Golly. But if you can relate to me, when I leverage some data and some case studies, and then it's it's more believable, and you care about it a little bit more than if I just came up here, man, you guys want to know how many awards I've won and how much money people have spent with us and all that stuff? Ask me later, I'll tell you. It'll be really fun. But if you lead with that stuff, it's the wrong order. And then finally, the last L is lead. If you never ask the person out on the date, the relationship is very unlikely to start. So you have to think when you're creating any type of content, what is the call to action? And in a brand story, if you're just going to make one video, you may just say I just want somebody to feel something, and that's leading them somewhere. But you want to define what is that thing. So it could be a call to action. It could be sign up to my email list. It could be subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. I know we're not supposed to say those things, but it could be just something, call this number. Or you could just say, we produced this video, we want it to touch people so that by the end, they feel a little bit closer to us. They understand our heartbeat. They know what we're about. And that is a great place. And a brand video is hard to measure success because it's really about creating a connection. How do you measure that? It's like, I guess you could ask people if they feel connected to the brand, and then there you go. Okay, secret number 2, use soulful questions. Now, you can do this with your iPhone, and I'm going to show you a video here in a minute that we shot with our phone in a $150 light. Super simple. We didn't have to use the light, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'm like, I don't like the light, so let's just throw this light up here. If you answer these questions, great. If you have a hard time sitting in front of a camera answering questions, then get somebody to ask you questions. If you get somebody that just reads the questions and is on to the next one, that's not going to set you up for success. What you need is somebody that as you're sharing your answers, they're leaning in, and they're actively listening, and they're tilting their head, and they're like, wow. And you give an answer, and then they say, tell me more about that. And you're like, and then you start crying, and then you've got video gold if you start crying. Okay, kidding, not kidding. But these are some of the questions that we will ask. So when I say soulful, I mean ones that really get to the heart of who you are, what you care about, why you care, because those are the things that are going to differentiate you from anybody else. Questions like, why do you care about this work? Take me to the moment. Where were you? What was it like outside? What was happening around you when you realized that this was the work that you wanted to give your life to? But again, you need some empathy. So you need to be asking yourself those questions if you're by yourself in a way that's like, okay, like let's get to it. Like, why do I care about this work? Or if you can have somebody that's really empathetic and can lean in and listen and ask, what would be missing if you stopped doing this work today? What's one of your favorite transformation stories of a client or employee or someone who has experienced your product or service? What was life like before? What's life like now for them? Why do they love what you do or what you did for them? And then my favorite question, this is free, you guys. This is so good. My favorite question to ask is, what else? So if you're interviewing someone or someone is interviewing you, to ask that question, what else? Inevitably, people will say like, oh no, that's it. And then you wait. And then 2 seconds later, they're like, but, and then they go into this. And usually the gold nuggets are when you leave that opportunity for what else. And then they answer, they give you more from the what else. And then guess what you ask again when they're done? What else? Until it's very clear. There's 10 seconds of awkward silence, and then you're like, okay, that's probably enough. Secret number 3, done is better than perfect. If there's one thing that I'm walking away from this conference, it's that doing the thing. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Owen. It's like perfection. We create beautiful films, and I've fallen into a trap of feeling like every video needs to be a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But the world needs your message. The world needs your work. And the longer you sit on your story, and the longer you take to launch your channel, the longer you take to invest in figuring out your why, the longer your dream clients aren't able to work with you. And the more time they're going to go without your life-changing product or service. Do not do a disservice. And you know what? Let you in on the 4th secret. I'm the worst at this. I've done some things, I've launched some things, but there are way more things that I didn't do because of perfectionism, because of mindset, because I got stuck in my head and said, no, it's not the perfect name's not there. I don't have the right thumbnail. I don't like how the video is shot. Done is better than perfect, and your message is more important than your mug. I know you hate your voice. You probably don't like what you look like on camera. Nobody else cares. And maybe some people do. Those aren't your ideal clients. So with me, will you, with me, say like, let's get over ourselves and let's give the thing to the world that they desperately need. People desperately need you. Okay, how am I doing? George? 25 minutes? I couldn't see what it said. Time's up. Okay. So this is Nick's story. Time's up, but we're not going anywhere. This is a quick video that I shot of one of my employees to show you how easy this is. I set up the camera, I asked Nick some questions, and then I made a list of some B-roll shots. Super simple, shot it all on my iPhone 15.
I'm Nick Stevenson. I'm a 2021 grad from Harding University, and I'm currently a filmmaker at T.E.L.L Studios. I'm officially the studio assistant, but I'm also assistant video editor, shooter, just help out with all the production, post-production stuff. I'd say the best thing that came out of Harding for me was the people, but also the experiences that I had in the way that it opened up my interests and made me realize the direction I wanted to go with entertainment. There was definitely a moment in my senior year that I can remember where it was the closest I've ever been to God, because there was a hard time in my life for a little bit, and that's when it really pushed me closer, and I'm growing more ever since from that moment. Harding, I want to thank you for making me who I am today. I want to thank you for giving me friends that are going to last a lifetime, for teaching me things about what I'm doing today, things that have helped me in my career and things that I will look back on. So thank you for giving me some of the best 4 years of my life with some of the best people I've ever met, and experiences that I still look back on to this day. So thank you for giving me a great time.
Okay, Nick's story. 5 minutes of planning, 5 minutes of lighting setup, 18 minutes for interviewing him, 10 minutes of B-roll. I just said, okay, let's get these shots, nothing crazy. 20 minutes to edit because I used an app called Descript, similar to CapCut, captions, super simple editing with words, not all of the crazy video stuff. Filmed on an iPhone 15, used an internal mic from the phone, $150 lights. You can do this. Tripod, so easy.
I'm Nick Steve.
I believe in you. Let's watch it one more time. Sharing compelling stories that showcase your value continues attracting the right audience despite what's trending, no matter the current and future challenges that we face. Okay, a couple of ways that I can help. tellstudios.com/Lima. No QR code. I can relate. It's fine. tellstudios.com/Lima. Not only will you get a free strategy session, no weird sleazy sales pitch from me on that, but if it makes sense for us to work together on something, great, but I would love to help the people of Lima. And I've got video gear guide, budget-friendly stuff there, so go download that thing. And I'm launching this thing called the Smartphone Film Academy. I've already launched it, actually, but we're going to do another live cohort, 30 days to help you plan, shoot with your iPhone, edit simply, and create content so you can build some confidence. Thank you so much. Please don't leave without believing that your story really matters and it's time to tell it. Thank you.